Alright people, so welcome to Jumbo IAS and welcome to UPSC Prelims Phoenix batch. In this batch, we revise the entire syllabus for UPSC Prelims 2026, both the static portion as well as current affairs. Through this batch, if you'll follow this schedule, this schedule to its very core, then well, you would have revised your entire syllabus at least 3 times, plus you would have practiced more than 7,000 MCQs. So it is really pertinent for you to follow the schedule to its very core. Please do not miss out on any daily targets. It's very important. All right. Now, today is day 6 for Polity current affairs. And today's topics, well, are miscellaneous. We have put them in miscellaneous category. Okay. So let's straight away begin the discussion on these topics through a set of 20 MCQs. All right. So let's begin. So current affairs polity day 6, and day 6 is titled miscellaneous. So all the I wouldn't say frivolous, but all the fence sitters, okay, all the topics that sometimes are categorized in social issues or sometimes are categorized in the polity portion will be covered over here. Okay, so let's straight away dive into this topic, this discussion of today with question number 1. All right, with reference to census 2027, consider the following statements. It is the first digital census in India where data collection will include a self-enumeration option via mobile applications. Okay, so you can self-identify yourself. Nobody would come to you, but you can download a mobile app and fill in all the details so that you're counted in the census. Okay, this is the first time. For the first time since 1931, the census will include a count of other backward classes. The population enumeration reference date for this census is officially set for March 2026. Okay. Now, yes, the census would have been conducted in 2021, but we were undergoing COVID. Okay, so it took a lot of time. Now, the 2021 census, which would have been conducted in that year, would be conducted in 2027. But there are certain changes. Okay, number one, it is the first digital census in India. First statement is absolutely correct. Now, well, during British times, because census exercise was started by the British rule. During British times, even caste census or caste counting used to be done. And that was done until 1931. When India got independence, already it was a divided society. We saw a brutal partition. Therefore, we thought that counting different castes or caste census would be counterproductive to unity and integrity of India. So after independence, we discontinued with this practice. But in the 21st century, there have been some demands to count castes as well, their socio-economic position as well as their numbers. So this is the first time since 1931 that we are going to conduct a caste census as well for OBCs. This is correct. The population enumeration reference date, the counting of population, is March 1st, 2027, not 26. That is why it is called 2027 census, not 26 census. Okay. So the correct answer would be 1 is correct, 2 is correct, 3 is incorrect. The correct answer would be B. Right? All right. Next. Consider the following statements regarding Delimitation Commission. It is a high-power independent statutory body whose orders have the force of law and cannot be modified by Lok Sabha. The commission is traditionally chaired by Chief Election Commissioner of India. Article 329, Clause A of the Constitution bars courts from questioning the validity of laws relating to delimitation of constituencies. Okay? So look. Article 82 of the Constitution clearly says that the division of territorial map of India into constituencies for elections shall be done by Delimitation Commission. Now, Delimitation Commission shall be established after every census through a law of Parliament. Okay, so after every census, a Delimitation Commission Act is enacted, and based on that act, Delimitation Commission is established, whose sole job is to divide the territorial map of India into electoral constituencies. Simple, okay? Now, the thing is that our constitution has provided certain safeguards to Delimitation Commission. First of all, their orders, their decisions shall not be challenged in any court of law. So this is the protection given to them, okay? And it cannot be changed. Their orders, to ensure independence of Delimitation Commission, their orders or their recommendations won't be changed by even Lok Sabha as well, and not even the courts. So first statement is correct. Now, the commission is generally chaired by a retired Chief Justice of India, retired Supreme Court retired Supreme Court judge. CEC is not the chairman of Delimitation Commission, though he's a member. but he's not the chairman. Chairman is a retired Supreme Court judge. So this is false. Article 329A of the Constitution bars courts from questioning the validity of laws relating to delimitation. Absolutely correct. Okay, courts cannot interfere in this delimitation exercise. So the answer would come out to be C. Right? Next. Regarding the trigger for the next delimitation exercise, consider the following statements. 84th Amendment Act froze the number of Lok Sabha seats based on 1971 census until the first census taken after 2026. Okay. Legally, the government can only begin redrawing seats once census 2027 data is published. 42nd Amendment Act was the first to freeze the seats based on 1971 census to encourage population control. Okay. Now, how many seats shall be there in parliament? How many seats shall each state get in the parliament is based on their population. Okay. Now, North Indian states were growing their population and South Indian states were controlling their population. Now, the thing is that based on the population, well, your seats would be allocated to your state in parliament. Now, in 1970s, government wanted to control population of India. Now, if you'll incentivize a state to get more seats by increasing their population, they would not control their population, okay? Because more the population, more would be the seats, more representation in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. That is why, to incentivize population control, government froze the number of seats from each state in parliament based on 1971 population figures. This was done in 42nd Amendment Act. And then after every 10 years, well, the date for that was extended. Earlier it was 2000, then 2026. Okay, so date got extended. What extension? That the number of seats shall be based on 1971 census. Now, the latest amendment that froze the seats till 2026 was 84th. After 84th amendment, no extension has been given. So, as per Article 82, just after 2026, the next census after 2026, a fresh delimitation exercise would be conducted based on the population. Well, seats would be given to different states. Now, South Indian states had a better record on population control, whereas North Indian states did not. Therefore, South Indian states are a little bit angry. Why? Because they feel that they controlled the population, North Indian states couldn't. Now, North Indian states would be rewarded for that because the next delimitation exercise would give them more seats in parliament. Okay, so that is why they are a little bit pissed. They are a little bit angry. Nonetheless, first statement is correct, second statement is correct, and the third statement is also correct. So all three would be the answer, right? I hope you know the background story, why delimitation exercise is a controversy. Okay, next. With reference to Women's Reservation Act, Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, consider the following statements. It mandates 33% reservation for women in Lok Sabha, state assemblies and Rajya Sabha. The implementation of this reservation is constitutionally linked to the completion of delimitation exercise following first census post 2023. The act includes a sunset clause implying the reservation is not intended to be permanent. Okay, so we want to provide women reservation in parliament. So 33% of the seats shall be reserved for women so as to increase their political representation in countries, in countries' government. Okay, now this was done through Women Reservation Act. Now this act says that 33% of the seats shall be reserved for women in Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. Seats shall not be reserved for them in Rajya Sabha and state legislative councils. No, only for Lok Sabha and legislative assemblies. So first statement is false. As per this law, the first delimitation exercise after the next census, after 2023, would include 33% reservation. So this law would kick in. This reservation would kick in based on the next census after 2023, which is 2027 census, and delimitation exercise based on that. So in the next elections after this census, well, this reservation would kick in. So this is there. Now we want to see how this law would work. Therefore, based on the learnings of this experiment, we would enact a better women's reservation. Therefore, this law comes with a sunset clause that this law is for 15 years only. In these 15 years time, we will see how this thing has worked out. Has it really increased women's participation in politics? And if not, then what were the reasons? Then we'll rectify those reasons and then come up with a new Reservation Act. Okay, so it has a sunset clause. Clear? So the answer would come out to be B. Okay, next. Consider the following statements regarding judicial oversight over delimitation. The Supreme Court in Kishore Chandra Chhagan Lal Rathod case clarified that manifest arbitrariness can be ground for judicial review of delimitation orders. Article 82 mandates the Parliament to enact a delimitation act after every census. So statement 2 is correct. We have just discussed this. But the thing is, I told you that courts are barred from interfering in the delimitation exercise. The orders of the Delimitation Commission cannot be challenged in any court of law. The Supreme Court in this recent judgment has said that if there is evidence for clear arbitrariness, manifest arbitrariness, clear-cut arbitrariness, clear-cut malice, that delimitation exercise is not being conducted properly, it is clearly shown, then we can interfere and review the order of Delimitation Commission, despite the fact that it is written explicitly in the Constitution that courts are debarred from that. Okay, so this is absolutely correct. Judicial review is there even in delimitation exercise, provided the grounds are manifest arbitrariness, clear-cut shown arbitrariness. Okay, so the answer to this question would come out to be C. Okay, next. With reference to updated guidelines for overseas citizen of India, consider the following statements. Okay, so India does not allow dual citizenship, but overseas citizen of India is the closest you can get to dual citizenship. So a foreign citizen of Indian origin can get OCI and become a OCI card holder. And once they become a OCI card holder, they are closest to the rights and privileges given to an Indian citizen. There are certain exceptions though. Okay, there are certain things that are still there with Indian citizens, rights and privileges, and not with OCI card holders. Okay. OCI card holders are required to obtain prior permission from the Ministry of Home Affairs to undertake missionary or tabligh activities. Journalistic activities by an OCI card holder do not require prior government approval as they are covered under freedom of press. Visiting protected or restricted areas in India require special permits for OCI similar to foreign nationals. Now, OCI card holders were given privileges and rights similar to Indian citizens, except the right to vote. But what Indian government found out, that there are certain foreigners of Indian origin who take this OCI card and undertake activities that subvert the unity and integrity of India. Okay, these can be, India is very sensitive to, well, missionary activities, conversion activities by Christian missionaries and Muslim missionaries. Okay, so it is said that OCI card holders do not have the explicit right to undertake these activities. They have to take government permission. So this change was made. Then there were many foreign nationals of Indian origin with OCI cards that undertook journalistic activities in India to subvert or defame India. That is why now all these OCI card holders, there was a controversial case as well. So all these OCI card holders have to take government permission to do any kind of reporting in India for journalistic activities. So second statement is false. Plus, any protected area, sensitive area, if you're going to visit that, you have to take government permission like other foreign nationals. Okay, this was another change made recently. Okay, so now OCI card holders after these updated guidelines have lesser rights and privileges. Earlier they were at par with Indian citizens. Okay, and this is again done to protect sovereignty and integrity of India. So the answer would be B. Only 1 and 3 are correct. Okay, next. Consider the following statements regarding Immigration and Foreigners Act. It is designed to replace the colonial era Foreigners Act of 1946. The act introduces a point-based visa system specifically for highly skilled professionals. It mandates biometric registration for all foreigners staying in India for a duration exceeding 90 days. Now look, this law was enacted to consolidate different laws, different colonial era laws. Okay, so there were many laws that governed immigration in India. There was Passports Act, Foreigners Act, Foreign Tribunals Act. There were many laws. Okay, now this created legal confusion. So the first aim of this law was to consolidate all the laws, immigration related laws, into one single law. So this was aim number one. Aim number two was to update the colonial era provisions with modern provisions, because this is an outdated law. There are outdated provisions, so we need to change our laws based on the changing times. So these were the two aims. Okay, so it is designed to replace colonial era's Foreigners Act. Yes. Now, if any known person, okay, or you yourself have applied to these countries like Canada, Australia, okay, based on your skill level, that your master's in something or PhD in something, okay, so all these countries, all these developed countries have a points based system for giving visa to highly skilled professionals. Okay, point based visa system. So if you have a graduation, you get these many points. If you have masters, you have these many points. If you have written research papers, more points, and so on and so forth. Okay, so it's a points based system. India is applying a similar provision, getting a similar provision. Okay, all highly skilled professionals are welcome in India, but we will measure your skill based on points based system. Okay, so this is there. It mandates biometric registration for all foreigners staying in India for more than 90 days. Absolutely correct. Your fingerprint and all would be taken if your stay in India is more than 90 days. So all are correct. Okay, next.